get in me. Get stabby, get all stabbed. During Roman times, gladiators would battle inside huge arenas to entertain the masses. And during the 80s and 90s,
what time is it? It's about that time.
gladiators would battle inside relatively small studios on television to entertain the masses. American Gladiators, the show where regular peasants got to compete against beautiful, well-tanned, muscle-bound semi-gods. Well, ex-football players and bodybuilders, but you get the point. So a quick catch-up, American Gladiators was an American competition television show that aired from 1989 to 1996. The show matched amateur athletes called contenders against gladiators.
You really don't have any thoughts, but hey, this guy's big, so you just try to get him out the best way you can.
You're never gonna defeat 220 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal.
There was a whole tournament season, with contenders advancing to different rounds, all ultimately to win a big cash prize. But honestly, I never cared about that. I just wanted to watch some common folk get a couple shots in on some gladiators. The show was unscripted, which made for some fun and sometimes cringy interviews and moments. But that's what made the show fun, along with all the action, of course. It literally was our version of ancient gladiator battles.
60 seconds to time limit each goal the contenders can score. Our Olympic champions can score with 2 points.
I mean, let's be honest, who doesn't want to see grown-ass adults locked in a giant hamster wheel? And all the events were insane. You had Sky Track, where you had to run a course upside down, Tug-of-War, the old standard with a gladiator twist, Whiplash. Contenders had to wrestle some weird, futuristic weapon away from a gladiator. Own the Bone! The Maze. Basically the MXC maze without the weird clown guys chasing you down and trying to suffocate you while Captain Tennille watches. Let's get it on! Hang Tough. Your worst gym class nightmares come to life. Swing Shot. This was one of the events I wanted to try as a kid. It looked fun, and there was a reasonable chance you could maybe outsmart a gladiator. Atmosphere. Hamster wheels for adults. The Wall. Another fun one to watch because someone was always getting tossed. Human Cannonball. Probably the one that caused the most cheating, disqualifications, and sheer anger from the gladiators. Joust. A show classic that often resulted in some terrible falls, but also some interesting situations.
But the captain holding his ground. Look at Laser wail away, and he's off balance! Oh my goodness!
Gauntlet. One of the events where the smaller contenders tried using their speed to get past the bigger gladiators. It worked occasionally, but sometimes it would get the contenders pummeled. Pyramid. Contenders were getting tossed off the pyramid like rag dolls. Powerball. Another favorite of mine because the contenders seemed to have an advantage. It was also one of those events that often caused bad blood between gladiators and contenders. Breakthrough and Conquer. Basically street rules football. And a personal favorite, Assault. Assault was by far my favorite event. Contenders had to run and hide at different locations while gladiators fired high-speed tennis balls from a cannon at them. The contender had a rocket launcher type thing at each location, giving them a chance to hit a target behind the gladiator. And if the contender hit the target before getting blindsided by a speeding tennis ball, they won. It had drama, tension, slow-motion tennis ball shots. Side note, during the Assault Challenge, tennis balls were fired at the contenders at speeds of 110 miles an hour, sometimes leading to some pretty awful injuries. And the final event was the Eliminator. It started with a video game-style reverse treadmill, followed by some crazy bike cranking device you had to use with your hands, then a rotating log run, up the net, fly across the sky like a majestic eagle, over the wall, then another wall, dodge giant balls, and across the finish line like a champion. Huh. It really was like Running Man. But I had friends who had Gladiator favorites. Some even had posters on their walls. There was Malibu, Sunny, Gold, Lace, Storm, Tower, Saber, Sky, Diamond, Turbo Cowboy. Alright, I'm sorry. Oh, that name. Alright. There was Gemini, Atlas, Blaze, Laser, and a whole host of other gladiators with very 80s and 90s names. So the show was originally going to be scripted like pro wrestling, with trash talking and outcomes all planned ahead of time. Luckily, they decided to keep it as real as possible, which was a smart move, because the realism is what was great about the show. The hits and falls the contenders and even the gladiators took were real, and they were often pretty brutal. Lots of injuries, so much so that they had standby gladiators always waiting in the wings. And it didn't take long for the show to become a huge hit, and you know what happens when shows in the 80s and 90s become popular.
Merchandising.
There were towels, toys, action figures, cards, lunchboxes, play sets, video games. I actually had American Gladiators for NES. Wasn't that bad of a game. Urkel appeared on American Gladiators.
It looks like quite a matchup.
The Gladiators even tried their luck on Family Feud. The Gladiators always gave 100%, doing their best to make sure the contenders earned their victories. If they didn't, it wouldn't be any fun to watch. And they also had to be entertaining. They gave up their bodies for our entertainment, 21st century gladiators. Yes, even you, Turbo Cowboy. Even you. So thank you. So thank you for backpedaling with me. Why not give me a like? Maybe even subscribe. Thanks again for backpedaling with me. I'm Tig, and you are... That's gonna leave a mark.